So this is for the chairside assistants out there. Most of my assistants all have great senses of humor. And actually, I'd have to say most chairside assistants have a great sense of humor. So this one's for you. And it's STF2, but not STFU. But if you're more comfortable with that, you could use that as well. So let's go through the chairside assistants. Support. Chairside assistants are so essential in the support they provide. The support they provide for the doc when they're chairside, the support they provide when you're a so-called rover or a support assistant that is making sure that the treatment is working just efficiently in the operatory. That's where the magic happens. So the support entails many different things in how we support. The next thing what we would talk about is treatment. Obviously, treatment that happens in the operatory does not happen just with a doctor. You have to have an extremely efficient assistant that has to be prepared, trained. The support in the treatment comes from they have to anticipate exactly what the doctor needs at all times. The seasoned ones become the other half of what's happening. It's almost you have a connection in your brain as a treatment team together. And if everybody that's been here has the ability to have all the doctors and the assistants, you actually know what I'm saying when I say this. You become almost the yin and the yang for what's happening. It becomes very seamless. It's just almost like you're thinking for one another. So the treatment itself that happens obviously takes a lot of training, takes a lot of support, it takes a lot of dexterity, all this training that needs to happen that we constantly work on in our efficiencies. The F2, now we'll go into the financial. Seemingly, we would think that the financial should be taken out of the operatory. I don't believe that. I believe what has to happen is they have to be very in touch with looking after their customer. So financial, what that means, we're constantly facilitating benefits. We're facilitating and actually knowing 100% at all times what the benefit status is in terms of their insurance, in terms of what's been worked out financially, in terms of has it been discussed the cost of treatment. This is where those conversations financially with a great assistant can occur in a very trusted fashion. Because this person that creates these relationships, not just with new patients again, but ongoing long-term relationships, is absolutely critical. In my case, patients will actually request an assistant. And the assistants will actually request to work on a patient. So it's kind of very interesting that happens in this dynamic. It becomes very authentic, this relationship. So financial discussions need to have a basis of very clear in what's done. The assistant has to be very confident in what they're saying to the patient, but the discussion needs to occur. Backstage, it's absolutely critical that the assistant, especially in a supporting case, is maybe taken from a hygiene operatory, brought in to have active treatment done. If you're doing walk-in treatments, if you're doing treatments in real time when it's diagnosed that fits in the schedule, it's amazing. But you need to know what the status is. The best person for that is the chairside assistant and the supporting chairside assistant team for that individual doctor. And last but not least, once again, is face-to-face. Face-to-face with the patient, again, no different than the dentist, no different than the hygienist when you're in an operatory. We have to be very cognizant of the patient's feelings. Psychologically, you have to know what's going on in their mind. You have to make them feel comfortable. You have to actually always anticipate that what they're thinking is, I'm afraid, what's going to happen to me? So the relationship automatically takes a step into not just forming the relationship, not just talking about the personal stuff that happens to form that layer of trust. You then have to carry that relationship right through to the treatment, right through the discussion about financial, diagnosing what's happened. And I almost like to say this, it's almost like the other half of face-to-face that occurs with a great doctor-assistant team. And that dynamic that happens, then you become into a wonderful three-way conversation with the patient. It's so engaging for a patient when you have these conversations that involve more than one person. The patient really feels like they're almost like they're at home with that. So the face-to-face, once again, primarily can never be overlooked. It's a little different in what's happening in each situation, but the assistant has a very unique opportunity in many ways to interface with this patient face-to-face. And I would almost say this, during an appointment, that chairside assistant spends more time with the patient than anybody in the office. Very unique opportunity. So the people that have great face-to-face, the assistants that just naturally are just those type of people person, they're just, it's so fantastic. It doesn't mean it's essential. You can learn these these different, I don't want to say tricks, but the different ways on front stage to show great face-to-face. But when you have that team of assistants coordinating together to actually, understand that we have, say, 3 assistants, 1 patient's in, they all are coming in at different times, interfacing with the patient in their own way. It almost forms like a family type of atmosphere.